Hello again, I am Blunty and welcome to a very special episode of PonderPop. We are here in Sydney for a very special preview screening of 25 minutes worth of Watchmen footage, and then I actually get to sit down and have a chat to Zack Snyder, the director of the movie, and absolutely pick his brain to pieces about exactly what is going on in this movie and what fans like me can expect from it. Let's get to it. I have the distinct pleasure of sitting with Mr. Zack Snyder, director of such films as 300, and, of course, what we're here to talk about today, the new Watchmen film.
The world will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper, "No."
Now, I'm going to start with the question that everybody wants to know, and you've probably been answered this a dozen times, but I need to ask it. Fanboys are notorious for being sticklers for detail and deviations from the source, but Watchmen is one of those materials that you have to find a way to condense into a movie, otherwise it'd go for 6 hours.
Absolutely.
What's been your approach to doing that?
Well, I guess, you know, for me it was like when we laid out the sort of script, the outline of what the movie would be, I guess for me it was about going through my experience with Watchmen and what personally I believe struck me when I read the book the first time. And so those things, for instance, you know, I needed the movie to have, like, you know, what happened in the American Dream, it came true, you're looking at it. I needed Rorschach, you want to know about Rorschach. These are things that, like, I had, and so in every scene, in every moment, while I was making the movie, I had to go, like, make sure that tonally it had that impossibly cool Watchmen-ishness. I don't even know how to describe it other than that.
The Watchmen je ne sais quoi.
Exactly. Perfect.
Was there anything that you just had to leave out that you couldn't possibly fit on the screen that just kills you? Is there anything missing that you would do anything to have it back in there?
Not really.
No?
I feel really good about what we chose, about the way we chose to approach it. I mean, I really do. I feel like, you know, we've talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, I think that, you know, the Black Freighter was the biggest struggle. Just figuring out how to pay for it more than anything. You know, but we tricked them into letting us make it anyway.
Now, the movie will be missing some bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah.
But they are still part of the production because you're taking this sort of across multiple platforms with the story about the meta story about the comic inside the comic. As being
The Black Freighter, yep.
As a separate entity, but...
Yep, we're doing like a... Oh, sorry. Was that it? Yeah, we're doing the Black Freighter. It's kind of like a cell animation version of the Black Freighter. You know, kind of not CG, kind of old school, which I thought was it's turned out pretty cool. I mean, it's still stylish, but it's pretty like old school in its production methodology.
Is that going to follow the art style from the Watchmen book? From
a little bit, the ins and outs, because we have to get into the book and out of the book, so it kind of morphs into like the actual artwork from the book.
Very cool.
And Dave did a couple drawings for us. Dave Gibbons did a couple drawings for us for that. And so, in that sense, I think it's a pretty cool like piece. And we've shot all the parts with the two Bernies at the newsstand to kind of link us into the movie. They keep kind of, you know, they're there, you know, in different parts of the story. You know, our characters kind of interact with the two Bernies and leads us to the next plot point.
Is that going to let you sort of weave them together in the end for a 3.5 hours director's cut edition with the film?
Yeah.
Excellent.
That'll all go together.
And what
it won't be just Black Freighter and Watchmen, ultimate Watchmen.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing that. When it comes to people coming to this movie from a perspective of not being into comics, I mean, even people who are into comics know of Watchmen, but how are you going to sell this to people who have never read comics, have never heard of Watchmen? A lot of the reactions to the trailer, I've seen people calling it a Batman ripoff.
Right, good.
Which is really, you know,
awesome.
They see the shot of Night Owl jumping into the street and they go,
Well, I hope that, you know, they start, well, for one, I think that sort of the mass marketing of the movie will probably, people are going to think it's a superhero movie, you know, and whether pop culture is that well trained, I hope they are, you know, and they just like, man, that looks cool, and there's cool action in it, I'm going to go check it out. Crazy glass palace and a blue guy, okay, well, whatever. You know, he's like a superhero, right? Like, what do you know? And I think in some ways that's the best viewer for the movie, because he's
like, come to that perspective,
he's completely
and get
raw, right? Like it's that's kind of fun. For me anyway, that you would go to a superhero movie and see the ideas that you see, and maybe like, you know, some people won't get it, but I think a lot of people are going to be like, wow, that's more than I expected. You know, the movie's like gone to a place I never thought it would go, and that's the most I can hope.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Watchmen. You can come to it as a 12-year-old boy and enjoy it for the fun superhero stuff, but on the other side, you've got, you know, all the things about the Cold War and Nixon and the Keene Act and all that sort of stuff taken to all kinds of levels.
And not to mention the fact that a lot of 12, 13, 14-year-olds, I wouldn't say they should see the movie because
it's rated R.
Yeah, but you know, maybe if they have a bad parent, or I don't know how it works. You know, it's like when I saw Apocalypse Now, I was pretty young, and I remember going. My dad took me. It's inappropriate for a child, but you know, it's like that movie that, you know, kind of changes you a little bit and sends you in a direction. Maybe we'll see.
Is there one sort of core thing that attracted you to this movie and sort of spurred you on to tackle it, tackle this graphic novel and turn it into a movie? Because for a long, long time people said, you know, you can't do it, you can't turn this into a movie, it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I felt like there was a way to get those moments that I loved from the graphic novel into a movie, like. And I knew they were so strange, you know, like there's a strangeness and there's a tonality to those moments that are all together Watchmen, that would create a movie that was unusual and interesting and self-reflexive and geopolitical and the past and the present and all those things. I felt like that movie was in there. And so, I mean, I guess I saw it as a challenge, but I guess I saw it as like a little bit of a responsibility at the same time, because I was afraid they would just hand it over to someone else, and they could have done a great job for all I know, but it just happened to work out that, you know, 300 had just come out, and so, you know, they gave me some crazy rope to hang myself with.
Who's your favourite character in the Watchmen novel? Who tells the story best for you?
I think Manhattan is my favorite. You know, I love Rorschach too, of course, and they're like children. You know, I like them all for different reasons, I guess. But yeah, I like Manhattan. I mean, I like the Superman, the broken Superman is pretty fun. You know, like the studio is saying, hey, could you make Superman dark? I'm like, I did. I don't know how to make that movie. You know, I can't. It'll never be as, you can never make the Superman movie, you know, as complicated as Manhattan, because he's just, he's a broken dude. He's scary.